You see this? I'm still shaking my head, right? Some things are constant. Some things just don't change. Some things are still crappy, repugnant. I'm talking about KCBS, the alleged all news station that is anything but news. Hello, it's Thursday. I'm Rich Lieberman. This is the Media Pulse, the Bay Area Media Pulse. Thank you for being here and thank you for watching. Tell your friends, your enemies, your priest, your rabbi, your plumber, your doctor, anybody that you value in your life, or even if you don't value them. Maybe they're misfits or what have you. Maybe they watch me and whatever. So, anyway, welcome to the show. If you're watching live, great. If you're watching at another time, well, welcome to the show also. Now, look, I haven't talked much about KCBS lately. I could if you wanted me to get deep into the mud, the abyss, etc., but I've waited. I've tried to be reasonable. I've tried to give them a fair chance because they have new personnel, I guess. Not really. They have a new program director, a guy that supposedly comes with really good chops. Used to be involved with WTOP, the news station, one of the most successful radio stations in Washington, D.C. Okay. I don't have to give his name out. It's not important yet. But he comes with really good credentials. That's what I'm told. So, all right, I'm going to listen more than I do. And I now pretty much listen to KCBS as background music. When you go in the elevator and you hear that crappy music from the 70s you used to listen to and you're kind of attuned to. I only turn them on out of habit, not an endorsement, not a back ender or anything like that. I just have them on for some reason because you know, by just plain circumstance, habit, I have them on to turn on when I want to hear, you know, up to the minute news, right? I've always loved that aspect of radio. But guess what? Now, this guy's been here for a couple of months, and already the personnel decisions are disgusting, an abomination. I tuned in, and I'm going to get to the nitty gritty in a moment because I'm not here just to rip to rip. I want to hear and see if there's any improvement, if there's any kind of things that I like. There's a few things, but not really, you know, that I can go into detail because they're just simply, mundane kind of crap. But I can tell you a few things. The reporters are pretty much Dreck, still awful. They have a couple of hangers on this KCBS that are just trying to get to a certain age or amount of time that they've spent there so they can get some kind of, I don't know, pension, years, whatever, severance package till they leave and all. They're not that great either. But just for example, I'm listening on Thursday afternoon in the 2 o'clock hour. And what's the big news event today beyond the election? Now, there's a big fire right in Santa Barbara area, Ventura County, near Los Angeles, and it's destroyed a lot of homes, put a lot of havoc and strain already as we kind of near the end of the fire season. Nonetheless, in LA, they have those winds that we've been having, although down there it's usually a lot drier, it's a lot windier, it's a lot warmer, hotter in some instances. They have this big fire near Santa Barbara in Camarillo. So Patty Rising and the wow guy, Brett Burkhart, wow, he's a KGO radio retread. And they needed somebody, I guess, just to kind of as a hanger on because he's a body and because he says wow a lot and overrated and pretty much overwrought Patty Rising. They're on the air and they're talking to a reporter from KNX, which, by the way, is legitimate, as I've often said. Under all the circumstances that evolves today, KNX in LA, They have a reporter, Emily Valdez, covering this fire. So they do an interview with this lady, reporter, and she's down there in the, near the fire in the nitty gritty and kind of giving a summation of what is happening. What do? They rush her. They compliment her up the yin yang, and she's a good reporter. I know about Emily Valdez, and they're rushing her to complete the, on the street, the MOS, and what's taking place down there. Why? It's still pretty big news, especially what we've been dealing up here. Those of you who had power shutoffs, which I'll get to in a second, taking place. The news up here involving the winds. And I live in an area near the Oakland Hills, windy. Didn't have my power shut off, but nonetheless, anyway. So they're rushing this very capable reporter who's giving a rather detailed, interesting account of what is taking place vis-a-vis the fire near Ventura and Oxnard, that area, northeast of LA. And I'm saying to myself, why are you rushing her? Why? We got nothing going on. What, you going to go to traffic and weather together? Traffic? There is no traffic. Weather, we already know it's windy, or as KCBS in their vernacular, breezy. It's always breezy, breezy, breezy. They can't say windy. Just like fog, that's not in the KCBS vocabulary. It's always the marine layer. Can't say windy. Got to say breezy. Can't say fog. Got to say the marine layer. Oh my God, how irritating. But beyond that, guess what? They rush Emily Valdez off. You know what they do? They go to a reporter, the just out of college Oregon reporter named Shannon Golden, I guess is her name, who does a 3-minute report on the newest, I'm not kidding you folks, the newest coffee flavors at Starbucks in Daly City. The hell with news. The hell with talking about, oh my God, just the lead story, even on the networks about the fire. We got to go to Daly City at a Starbucks. Folks, it was basically a 3-minute commercial for Starbucks because you can't get enough radio. You can't get enough news about the pumpkin spice coffee. That's rather important. The hell with the Middle East. The hell with the election. We got to spend 3 minutes on the pumpkin spice coffee and more. Holidays are coming. Let's go to Starbucks and give Starbucks a commercial because, folks, never heard of Starbucks, right? And they need all the publicity they can because it's just not, they're struggling. They're underdogs. Starbucks. Oh my God, it's bad. Oh, and then after the Starbucks fluff, more shit show. Let's do 2 minutes on the 100th birthday of the original Rosie the Riveter, which is on everybody's mind these days. Not the election, not freeway traffic, not what's going on with inflation, not the Federal Reserve and cutting interest rates. We really care about because everybody's talking about Rosie the Riveter is 100 years old. That's KCBS. And these reporters that they have still, oh my God. And the whack-a-mole anchors still in effect. But wait, there's more. I'm just getting to the good stuff in a moment. Eric Thomas. I'm not a fan. Never have been. You've heard me. You've read me. He's gone again for a day. Thursday. Probably will be gone on Friday, but who cares? Who knows? I'm just bringing it up because we had solo Margie Schaefer in the morning. But wait a minute. Let's go from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Who do we have? Used to be solo for a couple of weeks. The guy with rocks in his mouth. Somebody named Shane Guinness. Shane Guinness, the disaster in the overnight. The man that is very annoying. And I'm not just picking on his voice. He has dead air personified. He has pregnant pauses personified. What is they doing? at ye old KCBS. They move him, I guess, temporarily in the midday so he can fill in for good old 100%. This is a joke. Holly Kwan. Well, Holly Kwan is back from whatever, a sabbatical, a leave, a vacation. Everybody at that station takes vacations or they take time away, I guess, so they can control themselves. We're finally away from this radio station, this shit show. Now you turn them on, and now they have Holly Kwan and Shane Rocks in his mouth Guinness. Now, this Guinness guy, maybe a nice guy. I don't know the man. I only know him from listening. He is a disaster. He is terrible. It's amateur radio. Doesn't belong behind a mic. I'm not the only one who says that. I've got plenty of KCBS alumni who tell me, Rich, you can't stop talking about KCBS. And now the latest travesty, Shane Guinness doing the midday. Why? I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. I guess it's an editorial decision. I guess the new PD from Washington likes this guy for whatever the hell reason. I have no idea. Now we hear him paired with Holly Kwan. Is that long term? I hope the hell not. Is it somebody to maybe understand what's going on in the midday? Not as popular as morning drive or PM drive, but nonetheless, look, fella from Washington, you're supposed to be pretty good. I'm going to tell you this, man to man, the midday, this guy Guinness, that's a shitty decision. You know what? I'm not the only one. More importantly, the few listeners that you have left, and I know you had a pretty good book in September and October, but guess what? That's only because you're a monopoly. You only have yourself as competition. That's scary bad. But nonetheless, get this guy off the midday. Put him on at 4 to 7 weekdays or weekends, Saturday and Sunday. He's barely capable even then, but at least he won't be on during the week. Or put him back on the overnight so he can have love shops with the traffic anchor. That's pretty evident on air that there's tension there. I'm just guessing. But nonetheless, this guy Guinness is not ready for prime time. It's bad, along with your fluffy stories and your whack-a-mole anchor policy. Anchor here, gone the next day. Anchor there, gone the next day. I realize, again, it's really difficult to do this. I realize it's hard to program this station. You have to realize this is not a Rubik's Cube, dude. This is basic running a radio station. It's crappy. I wasn't the one who coined the term shit show, but listening, you have incapable reporters. If it's a manpower shortage, fine, deal with it. Do something. You can't keep putting crappy, incompetent, uninteresting people that don't know geography, like, I don't know, the Bay Area on the radio. You have to do more editorial policy regarding your stories and not do 3-minute basic infomercials for Starbucks. And you have to tell your anchors or your editors, while they're not looking at their Facebook or Instagram accounts, to allow legitimate news like what's happening, at least on Thursday, down in LA near Ventura, to rush the reporter who's actually giving a decent account of the news and not do a fucking 5-minute infomercial for Starbucks or Rosie the Riveter's 100th birthday. That's plain common sense. People are shaking their head up and down, not this way, that way. And these anchors, these incompetent pieces of Dreck, I hate to be that way, but I'm only telling the truth. The truth. They're awful. Patty Rising can't wait to get the hell out of there, I'm told, so she can leave and retire and get her stuff from Odyssey or in Intercom, whatever you want to call it. Brett Burkhart, a disaster, not wow. He's awful. I don't give a shit if he knows 5,000 people and Jack Swanson helped him get another job at KCBS. He sounds like shit. He doesn't know how to interview. They have awful interviews, the both of them. Traffic. The few things you have right, keep dishing out traffic people. The morning woman who does, by the way, the traffic from her home in Oregon, not even in San Francisco, in Oregon. Your reporters still suck. There are a few, I guess, okay. One is on maternity leave. Got it. But the rest are little kids. They sound like shit. They're bad. The Weekend is a travesty. The Morning Drive, not ready for prime time. She's a lovely lady. She's good. She doesn't belong on Morning Drive. I happen to say it. She happens to be a woman. Sorry. If it was a man, I'd say the same thing. The Midday, what the hell is going on? PM Drive with Brett Burkhart and Patty Rising and your 5,000 fucking commercials. Sorry. Is it just because the fact you are a monopoly? You keep running endless commercials and all that. Great, you can get away with it, I guess. You want to know why people are still doing this? Not just because it's terrestrial radio. It's because the product is Dreck, lousy. I'm not the only one, but even if I was, I'm here to form an opinion. I'm not the only one. There are several, sir, new program director. There are several past, really respect. I can't use some of their names because some of them ask me not to say who they are. They just beg me to keep talking about the shit show that you've inherited, I guess. But you've been there now 2.5 months. It's time you make impact. Some of these decisions are going to be hard fought. I understand you don't want to get like labeled some asshole, some Grinch, but do it. It needs to be done. They're lousy. They've been here a long time, some of them, and they have to move forward because the product isn't good anymore. Do what they brought you in from Washington to do. Make changes. It can't be any worse. And don't give me this shit about, oh, well, we're still up in the ratings. You're there because you're a monopoly. That's why. And the morale is bad. People, some of them still work there who are not on their social media accounts. They should be working. Like the afternoon so-called editors. The product is incomprehensibly bad, putrid. I am not the only one who says this. I would like to give you a compliment. I would like to say that you're making improvements and that you're making subtle changes that will better the radio station. But I can't say that. And if you, even though you may not like my opinion, you may think I'm just some asshole and I'm on some sort of a revenge. No, I'm not. I never worked there. I remember the days of Bob Melrose and Barbara Taylor and Mike Colgan and great interviewers, people like Clancy Cassell, people like Dave McElhatton, and even to a lesser degree, but still professional Stan Bunger and Al Hart, and reporters who meant something. And now you have these basic lint creators on the radio. It's embarrassing. Dude, as you like to say around the newsroom, get a grip on it. Don't give Starbucks 3-minute commercials. Are you that soft? Or are these so-called editors? What the hell are they doing? They're supposed to be scanning their news wires, like the wire that's around like Bay City or Drudge or USA Today or the Chronicle, as putrid a newspaper that is, but at least they're news sites, if you want to call that Chronicle. And not on Facebook and not on Instagram. They are putrid. Please, dude, get a grip. Do something. That's why they brought you here. Look at what you have. You know, take a look at the inventory. KCBS used to be something. Now it's pure, unadulterated crap. Dreck, the shit show. I can't believe it. I keep saying that, but I still can't believe it. Call me naive. Call me somebody like just a guy who just can't stop criticizing. But you know what? You make it easy. You make it not that difficult to listen to this radio station. People don't listen anymore. Look at your cume. And the very few people that listen so they could get that traffic report, you think they're listening beyond the 5,000 commercials that you run? No, they tune out and they put on their own traffic apps or something like that. The few people that you still have, they're there mostly out of sympathy and to get that 458 traffic report. Dude, please take a listen. Go into a locked part of your house, like a dark room, put your hands over your head, and just try to regurgitate what I just said. It can't be said enough. You have to better the product. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad time there. It already is. People are leaving in droves. It is not positive. My God.